Well, welcome back to DevvStream's channel, a leader in green project investment and carbon credit generation. Joining to walk us through the investor presentation today, we have Sunny, the Chief Executive Officer, joining as always. First and foremost, welcome back, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's great to be back.
Always a pleasure. So I'm going to hand the reins over to you to kind of give us a high-level overview of the company through the presentation today.
Great. So let me jump in. So these are disclaimers. If anyone wants to read it, they can pause and take a look at it. More disclaimers. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the market we're in. So we're in environmental assets, and the biggest market for environmental assets is carbon credits. And for those that aren't aware, it's actually quite sizable. In 2023, it exceeded $1 trillion, and that's a trillion with a T, which surprises a lot of people because it is very impactful. And the reason it is this big is because it's something that's relevant to just about every organization, company, and country in the world, because global climate change is relevant to everybody. And carbon credits is a way to help achieve and really drive our path towards net zero, because it helps fund and provides a financial vehicle to help really accelerate a lot of the activities that's necessary in order for us to meet these goals. And not only is it $1 trillion today, it's actually expected to grow. So by 2028, it's expected to more than double to 2.68 trillion. And the reason that it's going to get that big as well is because countries now, through the Article 6 Paris Agreement, countries now are able to trade credits between each other. And so when you think about countries starting to buy credits to meet their net zero goals, the scale goes up dramatically over just corporations alone. So moving on, DevvStream recently had a de-SPAC merger, allowing us to be the first and only company on NASDAQ, and I'll touch on that in a bit as well too. And what that does is it gave us access to a lot of interesting things, having a stock now that's much more liquid and on a big board like a NASDAQ. So it allows us to access additional capital for our operating expenses. We have the opportunity to access up to $43 million. In addition to that, we signed a great project. We acquired 50% stake in the Monroe sequestration project. And again, I'll touch on that in a little bit as well, along with purchasing 3.7 million carbon credits. So that increases our portfolio, and it's one of our pillars of our business as well. And so at this point right now, after the business combination, we have currently 27.5 million shares, a little bit under that, 27.5 million shares outstanding. So as I mentioned, we are the first and only carbon company on NASDAQ, or exchange, major US exchange. So we're really excited about that. The reason that's important is, number one, there's been a lot of concerns and issues in the carbon credit market around trust and the lack of regulatory compliance. By being on NASDAQ, we kind of check that box off, right? I mean, being on NASDAQ and work with the SEC and so forth, we have a level of governance that no other company like us has in the carbon market. So what that does too is it also creates more confidence in the credits that we generate, the credits that we trade, and the ones that we work with. And it also puts us in a unique position where a lot of companies are coming in and wanting to work with us because of this. So the amount of inbound leads we get is increased significantly since we got on NASDAQ. So I mean, at this point, we do zero biz dev, but we're getting inquiries almost on a daily basis. Regarding DevvStream, we have three parts of our business. So the first is around our strategic offset portfolio. And essentially, this is the carbon credits that we have in inventory, and we will continue to acquire more. And what we do is we vet them out. We want to support these projects as well, but also allows us to get additional revenue to help by helping resell these credits. We focus on nature-based, tech-based, and also carbon sequestration. We have a nice portfolio of those as well too. So like I said, we right now have 3.7 million credits in our inventory. The second part of our business is where we invest into businesses, and we either acquire part of it or sometimes the entire business itself. The carbon credit industry is made up of mostly smaller operators and nonprofits, so it's ripe for consolidation. And because we are the only NASDAQ listed company in this space, it makes us a very desirable merger partner as well too. That, along with our team's expertise in the carbon space, and then also we brought on several folks from our SPAC sponsor, Focus Impact, and their expertise in private equity allows us to do this in a much more efficient way. And by doing this, when we consolidate, I mean, it allows DevStream to become really a true full end-to-end solutions provider and hit every single aspect of the carbon market. And then finally, the last part, and this is a real exciting one as well too, is where we identify companies and technologies that are doing things that are good for the environment and are eligible to generate carbon credits. A lot of times they just don't know about carbon credits or know how to do it because it is a very complicated task. So we come in and act as the project manager on behalf of them for generating carbon credits or other assets like renewable energy certificates, which I'll touch on in a second as well. And the great thing about this is we don't pay for the projects or invest in the projects, so there's no CapEx requirement on our part. We simply manage the entire process, and then how we get paid is we retain 25% of the asset stream. And so it's very profitable for us because, like I said, we're not investing into the project itself. Just touch on the portfolio we have, the 3.7 million credits we have in place right now. It's a wide variety of projects, everything from nature-based. We have several in the Amazonian regions. We have some in Africa as well too. We also have biochar projects and then some renewable energy projects as well too. And then with regards to our acquisition and project investment strategy, we recently acquired 50% stake in the Monroe project. And essentially what this is roughly 500,000 acres of legacy oil and gas fields that will be used to sequester carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases. This could be one of the largest, if not the largest, sequestration reservoir in the US alone. So it's quite substantial. And the storage capacity for the facility is roughly 260 million metric tons of CO2. So what that means is that this has potential to generate 260 million carbon credits. And then where it gets really interesting is there's also a tax credit called 45Q, which is going for about $85 per tax credit right now. And you get one tax credit per metric ton as well. So this has the opportunity to also generate 260 million credits of 45Q. And with regards to our project management, that pillar of our business, we currently have a huge pipeline. Like I mentioned before, our inbound is quite substantial. So we have over 140 projects in our pipeline. We don't have the resources or manpower to hit all 140. So right now we're actually working on about 16 or so. We have about a dozen of them signed and 5 really active projects. And this includes the EV charging program, which I'll touch on a little bit. We have an energy efficiency program for industrial facilities, where if they're doing anything good, we come in and help them generate credits. And then also I'll touch on the IRECs, the renewable energy certificates. So for one of our programs, we have with EV charging. So one thing that's different about DevStream is rather than registering one project at a time, we have the ability to register an entire region. And we create a whole program. It's called Program of Activities, where once we get it up and running and registered, anybody within that region, say in the United States, for example, can roll into our program. And rather than wait 12 to 18 months, which is the typical time to register a project to get carbon credits, we can onboard a new client and get them going within a week or so. So this gives us a huge advantage. So in the EV charging space, there are roughly 192,000 charging points in the US alone. And less than 5% of them are earning carbon credits because, again, the process is quite complex. So what we're looking at doing is we're creating a program. It's almost complete. We're a couple months away. And then we'll sign additional EV charging companies and roll them into our program. And you take a look at the value. A typical L2 charger can generate up to $1,000 per year. Where like a fast charger, a DC fast charger, the next generation one, can generate up to $10,000 per year worth of credits. And it's the same deal as I mentioned before, where we'll onboard them, bring onto our program, start helping generate credits. They don't pay us a penny, and how we get paid again is we keep 25% of the credits. And so if you take a look, with the size of the EV charger market in the US alone, right, 192,000 charging points and 1,000 additional ones being added weekly, this can become pretty substantial. We're also working at a global level, so this program can be used in other locations. We did announce a signing of a company, EV charger company out of India, and you can imagine how large that could be as well too. So we have contracts signed with half a dozen companies already, and we're continuing discussions with quite a few more to get additional EV charger companies into our program. And then earlier I mentioned IREX, or International Renewable Energy Certificates. And essentially what this is, anytime you have a renewable energy power plant, every megawatt hour that gets generated can allow us to get one IREC. So we're working with a handful of plants in Southeast Asia. We announced a contract with one just last week, and this gives you kind of the value and the idea. The interesting thing about IREX is that the reason they're needed is when a company is using energy and they want to claim that they're using renewable energy, but the area where they're using that energy doesn't produce, or the grid doesn't have renewable energy access, they can still claim that they're using renewable energy by buying IREX. So for every megawatt hour of power that they use, they can buy one IREC to offset that. So for example, Amazon is the largest IREC purchaser in the world because they have servers everywhere. And so in regions where they don't have renewable energy, they have to buy IREX. So that's why if you take a look at the graph, the volume issued and retired is increasing significantly and will continue to do so. So this is a really interesting market for us. Plus, the amount of time that it takes to generate an IREC is much shorter than the carbon credit space. So once the power plant's up and running, we can generate IRECs within 1 to 3 months, depending on the location and so forth. And so you can see we have a handful of opportunities that can generate anywhere between 1.5 million to several million IRECs per year. And similar to the other carbon management program, we manage the entire process on behalf of the power plant owners, and we receive up to 25% of the net IRECs. And then, I'll just pause on this, or you can pause on this if you want to take a look, but this is a snapshot of our team. A lot of expertise in the capital markets, a lot of expertise in the carbon market and technology as well, too. And I believe that's it.
Yeah, on that note, we'll pass it off to the viewers as always. We'd love to know what you think in that comment section and consider subscribing as news catalysts come down the wire. We're going to bring it to you here. But on that note, as always, we look forward to catching you in the next one.